Hello, everyone. I am extremely honored and pleased to be present in this forum here in ATM. First time after COVID started, 18 months, it's quite a lot. And I would like to thank Mr. Lawless and Dr. Taleb Rifai and Ibrahim Ayub for the invitation to be able to present here the opportunities for investments in Bulgaria. First, I would like to start with a short brief and some keynotes about our beautiful country. Bulgaria is a member of NATO and of the European Union, and for the last 4 years before COVID, we managed to increase the international arrivals with 31% and the income from tourism, the turnover with 31%. Bulgaria has around 7 million as a population, so tourism plays a key role in our economy. Almost 12 to 14% before COVID from our GDP were formed from tourism. We have why Bulgaria? Yes, here are some key figures that then the presentation will be available to all, so you would be aware more about the key figures in Bulgaria. But we have one of the fastest growing internet connections in the country, and also we have one of the most favorable conditions in doing business in Bulgaria. The tax rate is 10% flat. Also, in the other slides, you will see most of the direct and indirect costs of doing business that are extremely competitive. Bulgaria, in terms of tourism, is also very attractive as can offer all kinds of tourism, winter, summer, cultural and historical tourism, spa and wellness, MICE, everything year-round us. In Bulgaria, there are clearly 4 seasons that can be used to attract more attract more visitors and more tourists. Bulgaria, part of the very favorable tax conditions that we offer, has a lot of young and educated people in different universities that could very well be engaged in tourism in particular. Here are some main indicators that can show you in the different years what is the GDP real growth, the inflation, also the government surplus, the export-import, that will give you an idea about the macroeconomics about our country. As I said, the Bulgaria offer highly competitiveness cost structure in terms of fixed and variable costs. You can see the electricity, the gas price, water, the industrial and the office rent, the labor. So everyone who can invest can make the plans and the return on investments easily. Of course, now after COVID, and of course still in COVID, will be a little bit more difficult to plan and to invest directly in tourism, to plan the return on investment as before. But I'm sure that tourism sector has a great potential, and COVID should be used as a possibility, an opportunity to build up and to learn from what was before. Bulgaria, before COVID came, was one of the fastest growing destinations in terms of tourism, international arrivals from tourism. For 2019, we managed to reach 9.3 million international visitors to our country and 27 million overnights, with almost 7 million as a population. This was quite a success, and for 2020 our plans were to have 10 to 15% growth, but unfortunately nobody could predict COVID, and we remain at that figures in 2019. Now here are some data that you can compare with what we have done. Actually, Ministry of Tourism was set up by me in 2014 before as a separate administration. Before that, it was part of the Ministry of Economy and Energy in our country. And our government at the time understood that tourism plays a very key role in our economy. As I said, between 12 to 14% form in the GDP. And we decided to focus on the tourism sector. And those are the figures in the different years since the ministry was set up as a separate administration. There are some slides, the other 3 or 4, that are going to show you the potential that is in tourism sector in the country. As I said, COVID stopped that, but all the calculations that were made before COVID showed the rapid growth in the sector, and I do believe that this will happen now, step by step after we recover all from the pandemic situation. Those are the slides that shows the potential. I'm not going to stop on them. You will have it. Why Bulgaria now has to be chosen as a destination for tourism and for investments? Bulgaria is open. Everything works in Bulgaria. You can visit the country with, if you have a certificate for a vaccine, if you have antibodies after COVID-19 infection, and of course negative PCR or rapid test, all kind of entries are accepted. We have a clear rules as regarding the tourist sites during the summer season that is ongoing in Bulgaria. Also, the government has taken a lot of measures as regarding the personnel and the business in tourism, who was the most heated sector together with the transport in the country. During COVID, of course, what was made clear is that the people are the most important asset for tourism. We all see and we all use Zoom and online communication, but actually tourism is about people. And it's really important, and this I think will be one of the main challenges for everyone to have back everybody that was engaged in the sector. And this is where the objectives we post are to reach the numbers of international tourist arrivals in the country before COVID, and of course to continue working on the marketing opportunities to present Bulgaria as a year-round destination, to stabilize the connectivity and the transport communications, because this is crucial to welcome visitors, to market all the key and prosperous markets for Bulgaria. In particular, being here and the ATM and talking about the possibilities for tourism and investment opportunities, we would like to strengthen the tourism flow with the Middle East. For example, there are daily flights with Fly Dubai and Wizz Air and Bulgaria from Dubai to Sofia, which I think will help a lot encouraging the tourism between the Emirates and Bulgaria. And we would like to use that opportunity. Of course, there are a lot of possibilities also to invest in the different, for example, I will give an examples at the Black Sea coast in Bulgaria. Although, as I said, Bulgaria is very well known not only for the summer tourism, but also for the winter, cultural and historical, mineral and spa. Bulgaria has more than 1,000 hot water natural springs, and it's second after Iceland in Europe in terms of hot water natural springs that can be used not only for spa and balneo, but also for medical treatments, different medical treatments and rehabilitation, because the content of the water can treat different kind of diseases. For example, the hottest spring on the Balkans is in Bulgaria, 106 degrees. It's in Separeva Banja city near our capital, Sofia. Bulgaria also is very rich of cultural and historical heritage. We are ranked number 3 in terms of UNESCO sites that are on our territory. And currently, there are a lot of investment opportunities available along the Black Sea coast as partnership with the private owners. And also in Sunny Beach, for example, the public entity Sunny Beach SA is looking for a partner for a convention center. Sunny Beach has approximately 500,000 beds, all kinds of resorts and hotels allocated in the resort. On the picture is one of the best resorts in Sunny Beach, Helena Resort, where actually we had the ITSS summit in 2018. And I think having a convention center there will give a great opportunity for a MICE tourism and to use the hotel capacity that is there. So I will share with you a detailed information about this convention center if you are interested. In Golden Sands, again, another resort on the northern part of Bulgaria, there are plenty of opportunities for a public-private partnership also with the company Golden Sands there, and including with the private investors, where a lot of some of the hotel facilities are available for sale or for partnership. Or to be rebranded, depends of course on the investment opportunities that are looked for, but the resort can offer great vacations as for families, also for the millennium generation there. You have different varieties of attractions and sport activities, and for example, the summer season in Bulgaria starts in May and then end up end of September, mid of October. And from 9.3 million visitors that we had in 19, 5.4 million of them were only for the summer tourism between May and September. Where you can see that the potential for the summer tourism in Bulgaria is huge. Of course, the main international visitors were from Europe due to the proximity to the destination, but there is great potential for visitors from Middle East that is not used, and I would be very happy to develop, and also from other long-distance destinations here in Asia and in US. Also, another very good resort in Bulgaria on the northern part of the Black Sea is Saint Constantine and Elena. Actually, in the resort, you have 7 hot water mineral springs that natural that can be used, as I said, for different balneal spa and wellness procedures. In Saint Constantine and Elena is the oldest Bulgarian Black Sea coast resort, and it's very suitable also for different events and to be combined, as I said, not only summer vacation, but also with MICE, culture, history, cultural and historical tourism, plus balneal and spa. This resort, Saint Constantine and Elena, is very close to Varna Airport, and has a lot of visitors, mainly from the European Union, and including some visitors from the Emirates and from other countries from the Middle East. But as I said, the potential is untapped. And the other of the great resorts, Albena Resort on the northern part of Bulgaria, with more than 33 hotels within. It's entirely private. It's one of the greenest in the country. And they have invented the so-called circular economy. They have also agricultural production that they using to serve the guests. I mean, in the preparation of the dishes for the guests, they have Black Angus. They have wine valleys. They are producing apples, cherries, and everything that is used in the kitchen of the resort. Of course, aqua parks and all kinds of attractions you can find along the Black Sea coast. But for me, it's really very difficult to explain it and show it for such a short time here, because the most important for you, if you're interested, is to come and visit, and then you will see the untapped potential of our country. I do believe that now, when we all experience the COVID pandemic, and when we all are trying to find ways to facilitate at maximum the travel experience, the travel itself of everyone, on one side, on the other side as well, to guarantee the health of the people, we really understand actually what we had before COVID as freedom to travel without any restrictions and anything to think about. And this is an opportunity to learn and to upgrade everything that we had up to now, to learn where were our mistakes, what we have considered as granted, and what we have to do to be able to put tourism back on track, together, of course, with the transport, because without transport, we can't really attract a lot of visitors. And this is one of our main goals, to have a sustainable, greener tourism, predictable, and to be able to offer greater conditions for our customers, for every single tourist that is visiting Bulgaria. We would like to use COVID not as a problem, but as an opportunity to present better tourism products that Bulgaria offer in all kinds of varieties year-round. And I would be really very happy to connect you, if you have an interest, with every single representative of our resorts. That would be very happy to cooperate either on attracting more visitors, vice versa, from Bulgaria to the Middle East and from here to Bulgaria. And of course, if a base for a partnership could be created, that would be really wonderful. Welcome to Bulgaria. We'll be very happy to show you more there. And I'm here to answer your questions if you have any. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Nicolina. And Nicolina's around if anybody has any questions for her, would like to talk to her about travel to and from Bulgaria. Thank you for a great presentation. And now I'd like to introduce Mark Abraham, who's the founder and CEO of a startup company, which is indeed doing very well, more than a startup now, called Shackle, which Mark will explain how you get unshackled. Is that right, Mark? And you can check into your hotel or check into your property without actually having to go anywhere near the reception, unless, of course, you wish to do so. So please welcome Mark Abraham to the stage.
I think before I start, if we could possibly get a quick show of hands so I know who to direct the pitch to. If we have, I suppose, first and foremost, if there is any investors in the room, super. And then I suppose if there's anyone connected directly to the hotel industry. Amazing, brilliant, Gerald. And listen, I think for me, this has literally been my dream since a very young boy to be in business. So to be introduced like someone like Gerald, and don't give out to me, but a legend in the hospitality space and what he's done, it's humbling. So Shackle is a tech startup. You're probably wondering why I'm not wearing flip-flops and shorts as a tech founder, but I very much see myself as a hotelier first and foremost. I'll just go back to give you the kind of wider vision, which is to create the world's first fully integrated book, stay, and explore travel app. And over the next kind of 5 to 10 minutes, I'd like to go over the problem that we're solving, the solution that we've built, the team behind the company. We already have a lot of investors at the moment already, so I'll give you an overview of them. So yeah, this is a little bit about myself. So as you can see here, it's from farm to founder. So I grew up in Ireland, and my dad was a farmer. My granddad was a cattle trader, and my other granddad was a small shopkeep owner. So all the kind of male influences in my life all own their own businesses. So it was all I ever wanted to do. And thankfully, I'm kind of living that dream as it is today. My hospitality background comes from the Shannon College of Hotel Management. You have the most famous alumni of the Shannon College standing over there in Mr. Lawless. It's a small hospitality university on the west coast of Ireland, but has a great international presence. So we have about 4,000 alumni now working in properties all over the world. I spent about 7 years working operationally in hotels. So I did everything from, cleaning rooms with the housekeeping team to, I think my record is cracking 1,000 eggs before a big wedding. I did the night shift, worked at the front desk, sales, revenue management, guest services. So I worked in properties like the Sofitel in London and Heathrow. I worked in NH hotels in Brussels and worked in about 6 or 7 hotels across Ireland. So very much still see myself as a hotelier. The tech angle comes over the last 2 years, where I was invited to join the Founders of the Future Fellowship. I was living in London at the time. Founders Forum is a kind of a big UK incubator that was set up by Brent Haberman. Brent was the founder of lastminute.com, which I'm sure we all know is one of the online travel agencies. So that hopefully gives you a bit of a background on myself, the hotel side, the tech side, and how I've merged it together. I want to talk about now the two problems. One is the micro problem, which is specifically to the hotel industry, and then the more macro, broader issues that we face. I think Paul mentioned it from the last session from the CEO of Dubai Airports. And he said that the success of the airports is how quickly someone can get through it as a guest. And I think hotels is the same. If you look at the first time you enter a hotel and the last time you leave, the check-in and check-out experience, how swiftly can you get to your room and how swiftly can you check out? I think if you all imagine the process where you arrive at a hotel after a long flight or a long train journey, whatever it may be, and you have to queue for 10, 15, 20 minutes where you just want to get to your room, have a shower, get into fresh clothes and order some food, but you're stuck in a queue. And we feel that we can bring the technology convenience to the hotel industry. So we feel the check-in and check-out process is broken. This was hampered by outdated technology systems that kind of still host archaic legacy systems. And this was kind of all before COVID. I think now we've realized with contactless and congestion, if you think about handing over your passport, handing over your credit card, taking a pen to sign the registration form, getting a plastic key card, and then the queue behind you, it kind of is a COVID hotspot. The more macro industry problems we see in the hotel industry, I think we all know the love-hate relationship with the online travel agencies like Booking.com and Expedia. Any business that before their guest even arrives to use their product or service and they're already 20, 25, 30% margin taken away from the introduction of the OTAs, it's going to be hampered. Adding to that is data. I think across most industries we've seen that data is the new gold, and hotels really lack much of that data. That's usually because the OTAs only give you the last name, the initial of the first name, and the room category that a guest has booked. And Booking.com's business is owning the guest, so they won't pass it over to the hotel. But as a marketing team in the hotel industry, how are you expected to market to guests if you don't even know who your users are? And many of our clients have even said to us when we've asked, what's the breakdown of leisure to business guests? What's your breakdown of weekday guests to weekend guests? And unfortunately, many of them still don't have that data to make more informed decisions. Innovation, I think hotels and as hoteliers, we have to admit that we've probably lagged behind many of the other industries in terms of bringing innovation to our hotels. And of course, what's happened over the last 12 months, which is safety is the new luxury. This is the solution. I think we're missing a bit of a photo in the middle, but we can show it to you hopefully afterwards. Really what we're trying to bring is one app for global access. So think of Shackle as the marketplace with hotels on one side and users on the other side. And then the users can do anything that we feel should be done by technology, which is being able to check in online. If you can do it with an airline, get your boarding pass and go straight through, why can't you do it in the hotel industry? Keyless room entry, secure ID upload and facial verification. And this is something that we're really excited. On Monday, we have a meeting with the CID, which is Dubai Police, and DTCM, to be able to upload IDs directly to the CID rather than the guests having to do it at the front desk. Booking and exploring activities in the local area. We're working with tourism boards like Ras Al Khaimah, Dubai Tourism. We had great conversations with Saudi Arabia this week to really showcase what is on in these resorts and destinations. The conversations that happen and the questions. I remember working at the front desk and you'd pick up the phone and you'd be answering the same questions over and over again. One of our brands in the UK, Village Hotels, did a study and it said that 80% of all questions are asked repetitively. We believe that AI can answer that. A chatbot that can just respond instantly. And then, of course, F&B and being able to order room service. Right now, you have to go to your room and be in it physically. Scan a QR code, call downstairs, and then you can order the food. Why not when you're coming home on the way back from a meeting or from the gym that you can order it on the app so it's ready when you get there? If you look at some of the biggest businesses that we know and love, like Careem, Uber, Netflix, what do they sell? It's convenience and it's time. You go onto Careem or Uber, it's 2 taps, there's a taxi outside. Netflix, you don't have to go physically to get your movie at a store anymore. You don't have to wait till Wednesday at 6:30 to watch your favorite series. Instantly, you can watch it there. All the big businesses now that do well in the technology era are selling convenience and time, and that's what we'd like to bring to the hotel industry. From a guest perspective, we're not saying we're reinventing the wheel. We know there are hotel apps out there. Our business model is not to work with a Marriott or a Hilton. We're working with independent hotels and smaller chains that might not have the millions that it takes to build technology to this level and then to maintain it. If you look at the 2 phones, you see the one on the left, which is incredibly messy. This right now is the guest experience. You go to London or LA or New York or Dubai and you have to download a new app every time. Most of the time it doesn't work very well. The UX, the user experience isn't great. There's not that many features on it. And you end up having a bunch of hotel apps on your phone. What Shackle wants to be is one app for global access, where the guest just has to use it once and they can check in and book hotels that are on our platform. We started in March 2020, 10 days before COVID hit. Probably not the best time to start a hospitality business. But what it allowed us to do was really build in real time for the needs of the industry. Looking back in hindsight, it was probably the best time to build it. And this has been our early traction to date. So we started sales in about January this year, and we're beyond humbled to get brands like Rixos Hotels, which will be our first hotel here in Dubai, the premium JBR property. We've got the legendary and iconic Rosewood London. We've got Martinhal Resorts in Portugal, which is 5-star family resorts. Mr. C Hotels, part of Cipriani's brand. And then Imperial London Hotels, their biggest hotel being 1,600 rooms in central London. Our growth over the last 2 months since we've done our last funding round has been from 3,500 rooms to over 10,000. And our hotel growth has been from 12 to over 50 hotels. Just to note, we're not actually live yet. These are all pre-signed, pre-product, pre-data contracts, which are paid, which I suppose for us and the team shows the validation that the product is needed. So we're just really excited to go live in July. Our first 2 hotels will be Mr. C in Miami and the Imperial London Hotel, which is the Royal National in London. This is the team behind the vision. I suppose to highlight James Malloy, our Chief Operating Officer, who's here in the audience. James started with KPMG. He then went to Credit Suisse. And then he wanted to get into the tech industry, and he picked a pretty good company to pick first, which was Uber, back in 2014, and saw the incredible growth that Uber received before joining Bird, which is a micro-mobility company. So delighted to have James on board. Just to point out a few more, Jeremy Hunt was the technology project director for Mandarin Oriental across EMEA for the last 10 years. He implemented all their technology projects. We're delighted to have Jeremy on board. Randy Berridge is our customer success director. This was a massive hire for me because coming from the hotel industry, it's all about service to your guests, looking after them, making sure they have a great experience. So for us, we want to give that same experience to our hotels who are our partners. So Randy led consumer ops, which was customer success at Uber for 5 years, San Francisco, New York, and in Amsterdam. And then for the last 3 years, she was head of global ops for Babylon Health, which is a healthcare unicorn company. So, and then Michelle, who's our head of product, he's just finished up as a senior product owner at Nike. So I think it just kind of shows the validation for me, and I'm humbled that individuals that have this experience have decided to join this journey. So yeah, we're really excited. And then our advisors and our investors. Well, all our advisors are actually investors. Just to name a few, so Conrad Whelan was Uber's very first engineer ever. He built the very first prototype back in 2009. And for us, the technical challenge is it's fine to build a hotel app for one hotel with 3 or 4 systems, but how do you build a hotel app for thousands of hotels that have millions of guests checking in and checking out with different systems on a daily basis? The technical challenge is quite large, and I think having Conrad, who's seen what Uber can do, what Uber Eats can do from the very ground up, he believes we can do it, and he's been an amazing help. We've got Zen Ladikin, who is the technical advisor to Ennismore, which is the Hoxton Hotels. You may all know they did the recent partnership with Accor. And then Brad Bow is the founder of Lime, which is the electric scooter company. So actually Brad and Lime just won the new contract for London, which was great to see. And Lime, I believe, are still the fastest ever company to get $1 billion valuation. And Lime's CTO is also an investor. So yeah, we're really, really delighted to have all of these individuals involved. Their experience, bringing it to, I'm a first-time founder. It's the first company I've ever done. So to be able to lean on these individuals has been amazing. What's next for Shackle? Well, we believe it's now just an execution play. We already have about 100,000 rooms in the pipeline. One of our investors actually who's in the audience, Avi, he is the exact investor that we want. So Avi has introduced us to Rahul Chowdhury from CG Group. We're meeting Taj JLT tomorrow. Rahul has 100 hotels across Nepal and India. We're hoping to do a pilot in the Taj Hotel here in Dubai before rolling it out. He's introduced us to the Al Habtoor Group for Al Habtoor Palace and Al Habtoor Grand. He's introduced us to the Five Palm. So we're really looking for, we believe we have enough tech investors from the Silicon Valley ecosystem, but what we really want over the next coming years is distribution. So investors who potentially have vested interest in assets, in hotels, where we can then launch with them, because we believe distribution will win. Our users need to have enough hotels in the major cities like London, LA, Singapore, Dubai, New York, where having Shackle brings a lot of value for them. We believe it's now purely an execution play. So with more investment, we can onboard more hotels. So yeah, that's it for me. Thank you so much for taking the time to listen. If there's any questions, please ask now, or we'll be around for a little bit of time.
Thank you for your presentation. Will you please answer one question? Is your system or app somehow connected with Oracle, like Microsoft Opera systems? How it's connected? How it can be applied?
Yes, thank you for the question. So yeah, we're an OPM partner of Oracle. So Opera is obviously, whether we love it or we hate it, they're the biggest PMS. So you have to work with them. I think that's an interesting question, because I think why this didn't work even 4 or 5 years ago is lots of the systems were on-premise and they were not open APIs. So they actually stopped businesses like Shackle integrating. What's happened over the last 12 months, and Oracle's have written lots of blogs on this, they're now a cloud-based PMS. They have open APIs where they're like, we want to integrate with you. So what we believe is that we're not asking any of the hotels to change their property management system, their door company, their payment gateway, their POS. We integrate on top of that. So integrations is probably the biggest. We have 50-60% of our team as engineers. So
I just do not understand how the person can check in then through your app.
yeah, so it's called an API. So you get an API interface with Oracle, and you call APIs. It's called calls. So when a guest goes to check in, the integration on the back end checks
No.
the guest in on the property management system.
Yeah, when integration will be, but now there is no integration. Now just this is separate hotels or chains or whatever. Yes. Now.
No, we're fully integrated with Opera.
You're fully
Yeah, fully
integrated.
integrated with
Okay.
Opera. Yeah.
And one more question, please. Are you interested in CIS countries distribution?
Yeah, I think so. It's one thing I didn't mention. So I live out of a suitcase at the moment, but I was supposed to be in between London and Lisbon. I'm moving to Dubai in August. We're opening up an office in One Central. We're really excited about the Middle East. You know, not just Dubai, but Ras Al Khaimah, Abu Dhabi, Saudi Arabia.
Eastern
Yeah,
Europe.
yeah. So the thing with startups is you can only do so much at any one time. You go too wide too early, it gets really messy. There needs to be an element of focus. What's beautiful about the Middle Eastern region is you've got Opera that covers pretty much most of the hotels from a property management system. It's kind of in the contract before you open a hotel here. You have to have Oracle. To answer it in a quick minute is it depends on what the systems are and what the payment local laws are. So there's some difficulty with some payments and IDs. For example, obviously in the Middle East, you have to upload IDs to the CID before you check into a hotel. The answer is always yes, you're interested in regions, but it's just can you do it, you know, with the finances we have. But thank you.
Yeah, so that's government policies and also everything
Yeah,
else.
it's just because
linked
with a property management system, you've got
Yeah.
Guestline, you've got
Yeah.
Clock, you've got Opera, you've got so many with a POS, you've got multiple with payments, you've got Stripe, 3C, Shift4, Elevon.
Okay.
There's only so many integrations you can do. So
We've got one last question. How do you see Shackle helping hotels lower their costs? I think that's a really good question then.
yeah, no, for sure.
conclude.
Listen, I think I've worked in the front desk for many a year, and you've got your shifts. You've got your 7 a.m. to 3 p.m., 3 to 11 in the night shift, and then you've got your 7 days a week. We believe that we can take, depending on the hotel, whether it's a 3-star, 4-star, 5-star, if it's a resort or if it's a city center hotel, we think we're looking for a blended average of about 40% of reduction of guests going to the front desk. So potentially you have 40% less costs of front office staff at the front desk. I'm not saying that you have to let those staff go. They can be put into more revenue generating roles. But what we've already seen is that our hotel in London is actually going out to the recruitment industry now, even though they're not opening up in October, and they're going to hire people now because they're so worried about not getting staff. So we believe that this can replace lots of the staff that the hotels currently can't even fill. I know in Miami, where I was 2 weeks ago, Moxie Hotel, part of Marriott, couldn't open because they couldn't get staff. I think there's probably another issue with furloughs and governments giving money to people. Why would they come and work for the same money they could get from furlough? But I think Shackle as a piece of technology can be used to replicate what are admin jobs to an extent. You know, you're scanning an ID, you're checking a guest in, you're taking a payment. And we believe technology can take over admin-based jobs and enhance the guest experience.
Sorry, one last question, and that would be for the day. How does the marketing of the app go? Do you reach out to the end guest, and how? How can the hotels be sure that the app has enough awareness in the market share or to gain market share?
Yeah, so it's a good question. So the business model, and I didn't say that actually, is B2B SaaS, so software as a service. So we charge the hotels a per room per month fee. So let's just say it's $5 per room per month. A 100-bedroom hotel will be $500 a year, $6,000 a month. The reason we can do that, and the reason we don't need to charge the 20% that Booking.com would do on the bookings of the rooms, is that we don't have the two biggest costs that Booking.com have, which is 1, marketing, and 2 is customer service. So for marketing, we're attached to the confirmation email of the hotel. We're on the hotel's website. If we have a phone number, we send out a text message. We have QR codes at the front desk if they miss it, but if they're in a resort and they're still staying for 7 days, they can still download and use it. So we work in partnership with the hotels. We have a full marketing team that co-brands with the hotel's branding to make sure it's on brand. And then we have engagement teams that work at getting a bigger download rate. So that's how we do it at the moment.
Thank you so very much. Big round of applause for
Thank
Shackle.
you.
Mark Abraham, thank you very much.